Well, Mark, when you get to the end of the season, of course, it will be written there in ink, your achievements one way or another. But just looking back on Saturday, really nice to have these moments, these memories that really crystallise what your team are all about.
Yeah, I think certainly one of the highlights of the season for us, and I guess the memories bit is for supporters. I know that they love the day, love the occasion, the atmosphere. It's great when you have to do some serious miles during a football season. So when you've got one that's fairly close to you, and you can travel in the numbers we did and make the noise that we did and get the result that we did, it makes it a nice one for people. And I think in a season like we've had, for there to have been so many highlights and games that people have loved, I think that's important and certainly memorable for supporters. And the other thing is, being in the position that we find ourselves, we haven't played against teams at this level for a long time. And a lot of supporters obviously missed everything we achieved last year. So there's sort of a double celebration to that situation. But we also have to understand how big results like that are for us, with where we are at the moment and what we're trying to build and trying to become. Wins against the top teams in this league will always be hard to come by, and that certainly won't change. So it's an excellent result and performance, a really good day for us. And then on the flip side of not just ourselves, but or just supporters, but players as well, it's a good day to take part in. You want to win, and you want to be part of the big days and get successful results. And that's one that we can learn a lot from, but take a lot of confidence from as well.
Inevitably, Sheffield Wednesday ends up acting as a bit of a counterpoint, and just over the whole period really since then, the way that your players have gone about their business, you must be delighted with all of that.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised, because we've done that for 2 years really. The bad results happen in every season, good, bad, or in different seasons. You're going to get some horrible results and some bad scorelines. I mean, we had a promotion year last year, but there were some horrible days in that season, and that is how football goes. That's the course of a season. So I guess the biggest thing all the time is to never like those days and to drive yourselves that they don't happen often. But the only thing you're in charge of once it happens is how you respond to it. And this team has done that continually over the last couple of years. So in lots of ways, I'm not surprised by the reaction to it. I said in the build-up to the following game, MK Dons, the winning of the game will be really difficult because we're playing a top team, and we shouldn't have lost the game, but we did. But the performance level was a reaction in itself. That was exactly what we needed. And then we followed on from there with 2 really good away wins. So that is, I think, just an embedded part of our character of this team, and something that serves us well and will need to stay with us for the remaining 6 games. But for the cycle, our life cycle of this team, it needs to be one of the things that we're known for.
Yeah, on to Wycombe then. You unleashed them a little bit with the result last month, and I think going into that game, we all sensed it was only a matter of time before they found themselves again, and they've hit a good run.
Yeah, look, every time someone's on a long run, it's just nearer to ending, isn't it? So they were on a run of not winning games, and it was a game closer to that turn. And, Ipswich at the weekend were on a long unbeaten run, but the longer it goes on, the closer it is to ending. We ended that Saturday. We sort of kick-started, if you like, Wycombe. They played a completely different way in terms of the system that we had prepared for, and they had been playing. And since we played them, they haven't changed. So they've put together some good results. They've got some clean sheets on the bounce now, and they're really hunting down on those playoff positions in what looks like being a really exciting end to the season for those. So there's no doubt. I listened to Gareth's press after the game on Saturday. They had a home win against Doncaster, and he spoke about this being a must-win game for them. And I think we've got some games to finish the season that will be must-win games for teams that we play against. And look at the 2 this week. Morecambe need to come and win here on Saturday, and Wycombe need to win here tomorrow night. So for us, that creates a nice motivation that we know the opposition are going to have an edge about them, and we certainly don't want to go under in that situation. We want to try and be as competitive as we can. Wycombe gave us a real tough game last time. It was a hard game for us, and we've got to try and be as close to them this time as we can and show some progress from the last time we played them.
Yeah, Wycombe up there with, I guess, the toughest of sides really to fall behind early against. They loved that situation, and they really made the most of it.
They did, yeah. The first goal is quite important in lots of games, but certainly with some teams it is. Probably ourselves scoring the first goal is quite important for us, and Wycombe certainly the same as well, particularly being away from home tomorrow night. We know what that can look like. So we're going to have to make sure we start the game well. We're going to have to make sure that we are difficult to create chances against, and they've got some real attacking quality that makes you defend your box constantly, and crosses and set plays are a real strength of theirs, have been for a long time, and we're going to need to be very resolute to take that threat away, or to make sure it doesn't come to anything. And then we've got to see how dominant we can be, because in the home games, we want to try and control them with the ball as much as we can, and see if we can. We had a lot of the ball when we went there, and they allowed us the ball, but we've got to make sure we make good use of that this time.
Without giving too much away, the injury situation, you're all good after the weekend, still pretty much where you were?
Yeah, the ones that weren't involved at the weekend. So we'll just see how Liam and Shiloh are today, as to whether they're ready to take any part, but we'll call that one this morning. Once they've seen Mikey, everybody else came through Saturday really well. So, I mean, some of the physical work that the players put in Saturday were some of our biggest of the season, which we knew it needed to be. So we got that going into it, and decision as to whether we make some changes, which we will, because, the next few games, I've already said that there will be changes to the team throughout the week. And then we'll make the right calls on who that needs to be and who we want it to be, to have a look at one or two others. But everybody's healthy and injury free.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that freshness and looking at some of that data will be key to picking the team for tomorrow.
Yeah, look, in some cases there aren't changes possible in certain positions, and those boys have put in. Our midfield on Saturday is incredible, the amount of work ethic they got through. So we're limited to the changes that we can make in those positions, but we'll have a look and see this morning what we think is the best thing for our players, but B, this game itself, and the bigger picture of how we want to try and use these 6 games. And I think we'll see 6 different teams on the pitch over the next 6 games, and that's exciting, really. Good opportunity for some players, and hopefully they make the most of it, because regardless of what 11 plays, the objectives will be the same. We want to finish the season strong. We want to get a few more good results yet. And I said before the last game, hopefully we can have a big shock result in there, and we've had one there on Saturday, but let's see if we can have another one somewhere. Yeah,
for Liam O'Neill, it's been a funny season in some respects, in that when he's been available, he's been right on it week in, week out, regardless really of the fitness issues. Then he's missed games. He'll be delighted to have made such an impact, but he'll have obviously wanted to have played more.
No doubt, yeah, he'll be frustrated with that, because his impact on the team when he's been available, I think over the last 2 years has been very good. There's been some real highlights in his performances, some excellent performances, scored some crucial goals for us as well over the last couple of years. So yeah, it's frustrating for him, because he'd just come back in the team and had made us stronger, and we were looking really well organised and resolute against some of the good sides. So hopefully before too long he can get himself back out there.
News this morning that both Matt Walker and Tom Pell are going to be moving on, and I guess it's the nature of football. These sorts of things happen all the time, but 2 guys who've been really central to what you've been doing.
Yes, it is the nature of the industry, but you never think it's going to happen to people that have been around so long. Some of our players have never known this club without those 2 in it. And Pelly, I've worked with Pelly for the whole time that I've been here. He's been 16 years now in the role, and goes on to a great opportunity for him, which is really well earned. And in the case of Tom, he's been brilliant at any job he's done in the academy. But myself and him have worked very closely together in the days of EPPP and trying to get the academy up and running when we got promoted back to the league. Worked with youth teams together. When I was interim manager the first time around, when Colin left, he stepped up with the first team then. He stepped in 1 or 2 opportunities when people have been ill, and recently when Gary's been off. So he's been a real close colleague of mine and mate of mine as well, to lean on, and we know each other very, very well. So you'd never want to lose those relationships, but you also want the very best for people. And the academy will no doubt will recruit that process of making sure you get the right individual. But you certainly lose things when people that have been in your club a long time understand what it's about. In the case of Matt, he's always been in and around the first team with me since I've been there, even back in the days when we all did about 5 jobs. He was coaching the CRC team with me, doing the fitness training for the first team, and being the education teacher for the scholars at the same time, and doing gym sessions for every player in the club. So that's the era, that's the type of person that we're losing there, a real club person and club people that understand where we've come from. Matt's impact in the first team has been brilliant over a long period of time, and they're people that work in the shadows and in the background. So they get associated with the good or the bad, and don't usually get the respect that they deserve. But in the jobs that they are going on to, it just shows how high regard they're held in, and both have had an integral part of the progress that we've made in recent times. And the challenge for us is to recruit people that can come and continue to make us better. The competence that they're going to need to match those two, but more than that, it's more than that at this club. You know, you've got to be good firstly, otherwise you get found out. But you've got to be all in, and you've got to be committed to it, otherwise you get found out and thrown out pretty quick, because we just don't have it really. I think it stands out really quickly if you don't fit in with the culture, which is you're all in or you're not in, and you're completely committed to what we're trying to do. A team player, no egos, really humble, really hardworking. That's what we built this team on, and that's what we'll build the next team on, because I know that's what Cambridge United looks like. And 2 years ago, when I took that first interim role with Tom Pell helping and everything, I remember a press conference where I said, I want people to see a Cambridge United team. And I got ridiculed for that statement because people had forgotten what it looked like. But we're back now, and we've shown people what we are and what this club's about. And we don't plan on stopping here either.
With the recruitment process for those two roles, I guess inevitably you'll be fairly hands-on with Matt's role, but of course you've got loads of knowledge with the academy as well. Will you have time to play a part in both?
Yeah, well, I mean, Ben Strang obviously will lead the process on both. That's really falls into his remit. Alex Tunbridge joins as CEO as well. So there's some significant changes in some key positions. So they'll have a major role in that, but I'll certainly be involved in the process with both, because we have a real joined up way of thinking here. We have a really good understanding, and my knowledge and breadth of the club is all the way through it. So I'll try and add contributions where I can, as well as the right staff in and around the club to get involved. But one thing I'm sure is we lose two brilliant people, and we're so grateful for what they've done and wish them really well when the end of the season comes. But we're a more attractive proposition than we've ever been for people to come and join us. And no doubt we'll have some outstanding candidates that want to come and jump on board what we're doing and want to help us come to the next level and find that ambition. And any way I can help and get involved in that process to support Ben and Alex find the right ones, I'll be all in.
And just to go back to the change point, presumably that's quite an area of emphasis really for coaching in the modern day game, in that in all areas change comes at you at such a rate, you have to have a methodology for dealing with it.
Yeah, and change comes in so many different forms. Whether change is last season, we had to deal with the constant challenges of the pandemic and the changes that could bring about from day to day and week to week, versus staff changes or player changes or results that can adapt people's mindset, mentality, confidence. All those things are changing all the time. So part of the dynamic of the staff is to try and have constants and stable processes to fall back on, which is where I think we're quite strong, and have an emotional stability that you don't jump on the roller coaster and join in. And that's why the character of the people we recruit is really important, because we need that real clarity as we go through. But that's where we're well led. We've got good stability at the top and above us, and Ben will lead that process calmly, and we'll make sure we come to the right conclusion and get the right people. But I think overall it's a credit to where we are and how people have done that. People see real good in our club at the moment and in the people that are here. Our job and aim is to keep improving it. And I've said this many times before. In the case of myself, I say this to the players, I say this to every member of staff: your job while you're here is to make it better. And in the case of Matt and Tom, they leave a club better than when they joined it because of the work that they've done. And that's the contributions you have to make.
And just quickly on timescales, would the aim be to get that done so that for the start of next season you're all probably ready to go?
Absolutely, Swanee. I mean, I don't fancy taking fitness testing in pre-season, because if I've got to set the standards, we are in trouble. So yeah, hopefully we can get everything done. I mean, obviously interview process will get underway in certain times. We've got to go through the right processes, but we'll try and accelerate that process as much as possible and be really well prepared come the start of the new season.
Cool, that's great for me.
Mark, just quickly to confirm on Matt and Tom, do they both leave at the end of the season?
Yes, they do, yeah.
And just quickly on Wycombe as well, obviously playing them quite recently. Does that aid your preparation for tomorrow night?
In some respects, yes, because there hasn't been so many games between. So you're looking at a smaller sample size of what's gone on. So it helps you accelerate that work. And I guess the way it probably helps most is that it's quite fresh in everybody's mind, that game. Sometimes you've got to go back months, and a transfer window could have happened. A team can change quite a bit from one game to the next. But the fact that we played them both right in the final 10 games of the season, we played them twice. So I think that helps, that they've got the same players available. They're playing in a similar way, and certainly from a player's point of view, when we review them this morning, it wasn't too long ago that they're going back to try and remember things. So hopefully that will help us and have some benefit to the game.
And given Saturday as well, I imagine you expect training to be a pretty buoyant mood going into tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, I certainly expect a buoyant mood, but I also expect some tired bodies because of what they put in. So we have to be sensible to not let that buoyant mood boil over into more work than the players need. Today needs to just simply be about getting ready for tomorrow and freshening yourself up rather than working as such. But yeah, there's a nice vibe around at breakfast at the moment, so I'm sure the boys will be in good spirits and hopefully have an ambition about them to finish the season strongly.
Great, thank you.